My name is Lloyd Gussis. I'm with NewHomeNoteBook.com. I'm sitting here with Lloyd Gussis, who's an attorney who concentrates his practice in real estate. But let's talk financing, because we haven't talked enough about that. What you get involved in the financing issues with people?
You get involved in the financing to this extent. As we talked about before, the buyer's not going to really get a loan commitment within the mortgage contingency time. He's going to get a commitment for money that's going to be subject to re-verification later on, that's going to be subject to higher interest rates or lower interest rates or whatever interest rates. You need to let the client know that obviously if he's on a shoestring, the rate that's now 6 may be 9 later, and if it's 9 later, he may not qualify. So you need to discuss that early on in the process. The most important thing is making sure when push comes to shove and the closing is ready to take place, that the lender's ready. And
who typically is in charge of making sure that the lender is ready?
Well,
because you have rookie real estate.
The way I look at it, it's the buyer's lawyer.
Okay.
Because the process now is complicated.
Not all attorneys look at it that way.
I understand. The buyers, the way the situation is now, typically buyers hear what they want to hear, which is, don't worry, John, you're okay, your loan's approved, we're ready to close. And they're fine, and they walk away, and they just take that to the bank, and unfortunately, a lot of times you can't take it to the bank. Because while that's being said on the one hand, the loan is still in underwriting, they're still waiting for documentation, the appraisal still hasn't been done yet, whatever other...
Well, typically you've got a broker telling the client what he wants to hear to make sure that he's not going elsewhere.
And the broker is not the one who's ultimately making the loan, it's the end lender, and you never get to talk to the end lender directly until, of course, you're sitting at the closing. They want things that you didn't know about, but you never get to talk to the end lender. So you're taking the word of somebody who's patting you on the back saying, don't worry about it. And a lot of times that's true, but a lot of times...
My experience has been that there is no slimier group of individuals.
If you're showing this on YouTube, you're not getting me to comment on that.
I'm not asking you to comment. I'm telling you, my experience has been that mortgage brokers are the scum of the earth by and large. And I don't expect you to comment.
I think you need to be careful from a buyer's standpoint or buyer's lawyer standpoint.
Notice I said mortgage brokers, not real estate brokers.
No, I think you need to be careful and make sure that the buyer's lender is ready to close when you need to. That they have enough time, they know about the closing and enough time to prepare all their loan documents, which seems to be big. No, nobody called me. We need 3 days notice. And even though the title company was calling me 5 days in advance, I didn't talk to them until 2 days, so I didn't really know the closing was going on tomorrow. We can't possibly get our loan documents ready. Just a bad example, but that goes on. We're still not done. We're still waiting for one more thing. We're still, and somebody has to follow through and make sure, because it's like anything else. You're fine, don't worry about it really only works if you're fine, don't worry about it. But there are too many instances where you're not fine, or there still are things that need to be done, and somebody needs to stay on these people to make them feel the urgency. Because when the bottom line, when push comes to shove,
you're going to take charge of that process?
My secretary does that. That's why she looks older than. I'm kidding. It's what
I didn't say that. What that means, though, typically, and let's.
It's a painstaking process, because you come in the morning and you try and leave in a little better position than you were when you came in, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're actually not as far along when you leave as you were when you came in, because the loan that you thought was done really isn't done. Or the one document that they're looking for now is 3 documents that they're looking for. And unless you stay on top of them, you don't know if it's going to get done or not.